There's been this idea going through my head lately of like culture. It's kind of this word that like everyone's been using a lot. I started thinking to myself, like, what does this word even mean? Like, it becomes one of those words that loses its meaning after a while. Like, culture this, culture that. You know, it's about the culture, it's about making a culture. Like, what does culture even mean? Well, like, the question started coming up, like, what is culture? And I came to this conclusion that culture just pretty much means it's who we are, it's what we do, and it's how we interact with the world around us. And with this influx of things like social media, instant update, trends flying back and forth, it's hard to like actually put a finger on what our culture is right now in the world. Like, years ago we could define entire decades by their culture. We could say like, oh, this was the 90s, this was the 2000s. But in walks the 2010s and we witnessed this like almost birth of microcultures. Like every 6 months, it's this completely new world. It's a new idea, it's a new trend. You guys like think about it. Since 2010, we've gone from planking to Gangnam Style to the Harlem Shake, the Ice Bucket Challenge. Is the dress pink or white? Harambe, the birth of memes, Pokemon Go started, Vine ended, TikTok started. We went from bearded barista hipsters to Jordan's hip hop and Tekashi 6ix9ine. The Jonas Brothers broke up and got back together. We survived the Mayan apocalypse. Robin Williams died. We discovered fidget spinners. We saw a YouTube war between PewDiePie and the actual entire country of India. In 2010, we saw the release of the first iPad. Now everyone and their 6-year-old kids have iPhones. With so much happening, how can we even pinpoint a culture? Everything changes so fast now. The 80s were the 80s, the 90s were the 90s, even the 2000s were their own thing, but the 2010s? There's nothing really that says what they are. It's crazy, because most of my middle school, high school years were actually in the 2010s. And I think a lot of this like constant change didn't really give anyone the chance to figure out who they were. I mean, the closest thing I can think of to qualify as culture is meme culture. And that's that's a terrifying thought. In the 2000s, the biggest issue as a teenager was like whether or not your crush liked your Abercrombie shirt or messaged you on AOL or, goodness gracious, actually went to the dance with you. Like, that was our biggest issue. In like 2010, what determined your worth was whether or not your friends actually invited you for that sleepover. Now, there's 12, 14-year-olds with 100,000 Insta followers getting paid to wear Louis Vuitton. That's crazy to me. 14-year-olds, when I was a kid, man, we just looked like a bunch of dorks. But in all seriousness, sometimes it feels like mental illness, depression, selfishness, and memes have become the culture of our generation. It's like the identity of our generation's culture is having no idea who we are. Isn't it kind of funny that our culture has become having no idea who we are or what we're doing? Our culture has kind of become an anti-culture. It's almost like in the process of all that the culture of our generation has become mental illness, depression, growing up too fast, chasing everything we think will make us better. We end up looking everywhere for ourselves except for where we actually are. The next 4 weeks, we're actually going to be looking at what culture means in our world and what culture means as a Christian. What is culture? It's who we are, what we do, and how we interact with the world around us. Do we want to be remembered as that generation? The one who didn't know who we were? The unstable ones? Take the next week and really look at your own lives. Look at who we are, look at what we do, and how we interact with the world around us. What do we see? Do we like what we see? Or is it unsettling? Is it not who we want to be remembered as? Is it? Are we lost in who we are? Are we a broken people? Are we a sad people? Are we a lost people? Or are we a Jesus people? Are we a Jesus people?